Alright, welcome to the takedown video for Squatch II, the 2005 Coleman Fleetwood Niagara camper. And first we're going to go ahead and disassemble the dinette table. So you're going to go ahead and take that out. I will put the back pillows in the center and then just push the bottom pillows aside to expose the side of the bench with the Velcro on it. Next I'll just take the table, set it on one of the benches, push in the silver portion on the top, those supports for the table, and then push the legs in, Velcro it together, and then just rest that table over the Velcro on the bench. Next, I will put the pillows back, and that's how you take down the dinette. The next thing we're going to do is take down the door. So anything that's attached to it you want to take off, obviously. I just had a bungee because we were in and out of the camper, just trying to prep everything for this upcoming rental. And next we're going to go into the camper and work on taking it down from the inside. So inside here, the dinette needs to be pushed out still. You're going to want to make sure this is the first thing pretty much that you do when taking down this camper, besides the dinette, obviously, just to give you more room to work with. So undo those plastic latches and then go ahead and work on sliding the door back after the Velcro is off as well from the outside. But you can push it off from the inside. So just go ahead and work through getting that door slid. There are two latch buttons. You're going to want to make sure those are down before you do this, unlike what we're doing in this video. So just taking that down. If it doesn't work, no big deal. And then those steel cables, you can actually let the door rest on it. You don't have to prop the door back on the roof or anything. And then there is a silver ledge. You'll just rest the bottom of the door on there. There's a little pin lock that we didn't show you, but then you should be good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take down the bathroom. So the bathroom door is the first thing I take off when you're getting ready to disassemble that. Just resting that on the dinette that's already down. And then here we're going to go ahead and work on the left one first by sliding that in, undoing the latch first, undo the latch on the right one, and then just set that one down as well. That one comes out. Next we're going to do all the poles. So these include all three support poles, one on each of the beds. So I just did the back bunk first, and then I'm going to do the dinette. And the dinette, that pole, that whole thing comes in, so you're going to want to go ahead and rest that down. I had the poles in the way, so I just kind of had to maneuver them around, but just temporarily resting them for a second on the dinette, and those the supports will come in automatically with the bunks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take out all of the support poles for the awning just on the top. So anything that's like a loose pole, those three poles in the front of the awning are actually attached to the awning itself. They'll get folded in one of the very last steps of taking this whole setup down. So just those four support poles on the awning you want to make sure you take out, and then the three poles on the inside for the two bunks and then the dinette. So all the poles are done. I did go ahead and fold up the rug that I had out, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that away. It just kind of fits nicely inside this bench. Just careful. I wasn't trying to break my little lock there. So just grabbing the poles, I use the rugs to fold them up nicely, and then I will set them on the floor after everything is folded up. So I just use all of those. I kind of put everything together. I use the rugs, number one, because you can't have rugs when you're sliding in the dinette, but it just prevents scratching or anything like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and push in the dinette. So going to go walk around and show you how to do that. So before you push in the dinette, you want to make sure everything is unvelcroed. That could get caught up when you're working to push in the slide out for the dinette. And then, see how that is right there. So I just kind of pushed it out, and then you're going to want to go ahead and push that in all the way, and then latch it. So you're just going to go ahead and lock it and latch it, and then pulling back out the canvas, making sure there's no canvas on the inside for the dinette for the slides to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and push that portion out, and then you can see the tracks for the bed just making sure there's nothing in the way of those tracks. And the back one is ready to come in, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the AC because I was working with it. It was a hot day when I was taking this video. So just showing where the AC is plugged into, and I turned it off, and then I unplugged it and wrapped it back up. And then these curtains for the beds, I wanted to make sure they are not in the way of the tracks either. So just moving everything that could be in the way of the tracks for the beds coming in to make sure there's no catches or anything like that. And it looks pretty good. So we get the back one in first because it still leaves you room to walk in and out of the camper if you do this one first. So pushing upward pressure on the bed, and then, doing that little lever latch right there is how you want to go ahead and do it. And then same thing for this. And then just make sure you don't use your fingers in the track to release the pole. You could hurt your fingers. But then just sliding it nicely into the silver latch holder. If you don't do this, you could poke holes in the side of the camper, and I know people that have done that. So please don't. Please make sure you latch the poles into the silver, the latches for the poles on the underside of the bunk when you're doing this. And then just plopping the canvas on the top of the bed so it can come in easily, because you want to make sure that canvas is pretty even when you are getting ready to close up the top, because if it's bunched up, you're going to have a hard time closing the top. So I like to just grab hold of it and then pull it in as much as I can. You can wait till the bed is in completely, but I'm short. And then that sink, you want to make sure that is on the left side of the sink, because you could potentially break the sink if you don't do that. So next we're going to go ahead and get the front bunk in. And then same thing, just lift up on the bed to get some tension relieved, and then push that pole back once the lever is off of it. Same thing here. You're going to want to just push the lever, and then get that tension off of there. Guide the pole so you don't scratch anything up, and then just put it back in that silver latch, and that's exactly how it should look. And then you're going to want to go ahead and take all of the elastic and the Velcro off, so you can just plop that canvas right on top of the bed in preparation to slide it in. And that's what we're going to do here in this video, or in this stage of the video, is just go ahead and set it on top of the bed. And just like that. And here's the bed coming in right now. Nothing in the way of the tracks. And once the bed is slid in all the way, I think it's just got just a tad bit more to go, and you can grab the canvas and just make sure it's ever so nicely just plopped down on the bed. And then next we're going to go ahead and crank down the top, but now you're going to want to make sure that canvas off the dinette, the slide out, is pushed back in, so nothing should be sticking out of for the canvas at this time. So we're going to go ahead and slowly crank down. Again, you don't want to go too fast. Just use proper care and caution when you're cranking the top up and down. You don't want anything to happen with the crank. And the awning's fine to be left up. That's one of the very last things that we will get to. But every so often when you're cranking down, you're going to want to pause, and then you're going to want to just go ahead and push in the canvas like I am here. And it's easier, again, as I've said multiple times in my videos, to do this, any type of pop-up with two people. But if you are by yourself, it is definitely doable. Again, I've done this with deliveries by myself, and I'm a 5-foot person. I'm small, and I do it very well. So before you actually crank down the top, you're going to want to make sure the hard side door, is locked and latched. So that's what I'm doing here, locking it, and then I'm going to go ahead and just push it in to do a final lock, because we don't need to go in the camper anymore. and just doing one last final look around in order to make sure everything is tucked in nice and neat and we have no issues with anything canvas related before the top comes completely down. So we are set, and the crank will stop completely when the top is when it's down, so you don't have to worry about asking yourself, when am I done? You will definitely know that. So one latch done, and then we have another one, so there's 4 in total, 2 on each side, the passenger and then the driver's side, so of the trailer. And we have the last one coming up right here. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and grab the crank. We did put it back in the box. We're not done with the crank. We still have the 4 stabilizer jacks to do, but we can go ahead and put on the tire cover back on the back tire there. And then just storing the crank for a second. I'm going to go ahead and get the step up, but it's definitely easier to do with 2 hands. Make sure you do it with 2 hands. And then I took the lights off with the Velcro on it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take down the awning. I took down the supports, the rope supports that had the awning standing up. And then we just went ahead and laid down the canvas. So in order to put the poles back into the awning and roll it in, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure everything is slid in. I think we did 2 out of 3 poles. You could do 3 out of 3 poles, but definitely 2 out of the 3 poles should be slid in just for them to fit nicely into the tracks in order to roll the awning in. I'm just trying to find where they go in order to get everything set up. So we did put the ropes just kind of in the track as best we could. Not really that big of a deal if it's not perfect, because you're going to roll it in and then the awning itself will keep everything supported once everything is rolled up. So 2 people, you can have 1 on each side rolling it in. If you're by yourself, just go ahead and stand in the middle, and no problem. So we did roll in the awning, but unfortunately in this video, my bag awning zipper was not in great condition, and it did end up breaking. So this was my fix. I've got 13 Velcro supports with vinyl adhesive and rivets. It's not going anywhere. It's very, very well supported. I will end up getting a new zipper, but I think I'm just going to keep these on because the awning is in great condition. Nothing wrong with the awning itself. The bag just they get old and they dry rot. So last thing here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up all of the stabilizer jacks, and then just pulling out those boards. We just leave them, kind of pull them out and then leave them, because I just come back around and I'll pick them up and I'll put them in the front cubby for storage when traveling. And continuing just to do all of my stabilizer jacks with the hand crank. Please do not use an impact. I don't include the impact attachment because we don't use the impact. I've heard horror stories of people using impacts and breaking things, so it's not good for your camper. Not a good idea. Please use the hand crank for anything that needs cranking. And just grabbing the last of my board supports for my stabilizer jacks and putting those back in the front of my camper. Alright, and lastly, I'm just going to grab the front wheel chuck, and then we are ready for hookup, and just showing you a quick snippet of what everything looks like when you're said and done. Thanks for watching!